37,600人。意外と少なくない
Welcome to the lazyfluency podcast, where we have casual conversations switching between English and Japanese, so that you can learn from and with us along the way. I'm Joey.
And I'm Yami.
And the topic of the day is earthquakes. Before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and or drop a review to the platform you're listening on. And if you feel so inclined, support us on Ko-Fi. We appreciate the support. And with that out of the way, earthquakes. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake recently struck off Japan's southern coast. In response, Japan issued a warning of an increased possibility of a mega earthquake, and they advised that people in potentially affected areas be extra cautious for this next week. What does that mean? What could the consequences of a mega earthquake be? And what is it like constantly live in an area with so many earthquakes? Today we're going to talk about it. Aimi, have you ever been in Japan when a big earthquake has happened? I don't think I've asked you that. I guess you have. Actually, maybe you were in Guam or something one of the other times.
それはそうだよ。2011年の3月11日。覚えてる人も多いと思うけど、東日本大震災っていうのが、あって、だいたい東北の、海岸あたりが、震源地だったんだけど、でも結構、関東の地域も、被害を受けて、で、その時私、小学校、何年だっけな ?4 年4年生だ。そう、小学校4年生ぐらいで、覚えてんのがちょうどね、2時40何分だったんだよね、確か。後でダブルチェックするけど。で、その時にいきなり来て、で、ちょうど帰りのホームルームみたいな挨拶の時に、急になって、で、みんな一斉に机の下に隠れて、で、机の足にしがみついて、ちょっと、耐えてたんだけど、覚えてんのが、なんていうんだろう、教室の後ろのロッカーのところに、金魚鉢金魚が入ってる、水槽があったわけよ。もうそれで、揺れて、もう水面が波打って、中の金魚が出ちゃったぐらい、すごい揺れたのね。それがすごく鮮明に覚えてて。だから、今回の、南海トラフっていう、ちょっと気をつけてねって言われてるやつが、それと、ほぼほぼ同じぐらいの、被害になるんじゃないかっていうのが言われてるんだけど。
So when it even if it's not in the prefecture that you're experiencing an earthquake, all of Japan feels it? Because I'm assuming you weren't that close to Fukushima.
福島に、福島ってさ、東北地方にいるけど、東北の、一番下の方なのね、福島っていうのは。だから、もう結構関東にも接してて、で、関東の、方もすごく、影響出たんだよね。
Okay. And have there been any other, I know there was a huge one in was it 1980s or 60s? It's one of the other extremely famous massive earthquakes. Or no, was it 20s? 1920s?
なんだっけ、関西のやつだよね。阪神淡路大震災ってやつだ。確かね、1995年ぐらいのやつだよね、確か。
I feel like there was one in the 20s as well. There have been two massive great, this classification of mega earthquake. Oh, what's the actual Japanese here? I have what's it called? It's the one for, do they call them is there a word for it? Oh, just daijishin? Okay, I was referring to the Shuto Chokka Gata, the Chokka Gata Jishin. That's also apparently refers to the, 1855, 1894, Edo and Tokyo earthquakes. So these are even before, this would be before Meiji, so late Edo and then early Meiji periods as well. Where do I have it? The current one, so just to clarify, so there was an earthquake in the sea, and so far nothing that crazy happened, it seems. But the thing that people were scared about is something called the Nankai Trough, which is the Southern Sea Trough. And if that is this trough, which I'm assuming is a giant deep ridge, that they were scared that this earthquake could have affected, because this is the trough that leads to a lot of massive earthquakes. And there's I don't know if the earthquake that they think is going to come is related to this long fabled upcoming earthquake. Actually, do you want to tell people about who are not familiar? There's been this rumored mystery earthquake that supposedly will hit the Tokyo area. It's called it said a second ago, the 首都直下.
そう。
Yeah, go ahead.
首都直下型地震っていうのがあって、まだ、南海トラフ地震とまた別で、なんか、もうすぐ来るんじゃないかって言われてて、る感じ？うん。
Yeah, I mean, why does it have why does it have a name? I don't feel like you stressed why. This has been a thing for like years and years.
東京はさ、やっぱり人が多いし、その、被害も大きくなるから、なんか、みんな怖いからでしょ？
Well, yeah, I mean, from my understanding, it's also supposed to be like when I was seeing the term, like I said, it not only referred to this earthquake. I mean, it refers to when like you have massive earthquakes in like, you know, Tokyo specifically because it's such a big location, but it's on the class of these like mega earthquakes. We like talked about the different classifications of Japanese earthquakes in the middle section, like of an episode way long ago. We might go back into that. But one of the things I found interesting here is, like I said, currently as we're doing this podcast is during this week of taking on extra caution, precaution. I don't know if you've heard about what you're supposed to do, but when I've been looking on some of the articles here, there is not complaints, but worrying fears from some foreigners in Japan. You know, people currently traveling in Japan and in Tokyo and be like, oh, dang, I don't feel like I know what I should be doing. So if that is you right now, I feel at the very, very least, we should cover that before anything, as that is something that is very urgent. And then maybe we could go into more general things. We have some images here. Do you see this is in the Yahoo? There's a Yahoo one, which is the 巨大地震注意とは talking about like what happened. As in, you know, there was an alert. They were scared about some earthquake above 6.8. Like I said, we'll talk about Japan's Richter scale, the Japan version of that later. And then what you should do. Do you want to take it? Don't worry, I'll bring in English just for those so that you definitely get the information. But do you see it's the 南海トラフ地震臨時情報?
臨時情報のやつか。はいはいはい。
Yeah. And at the bottom it has the images. The images, do you see the 発表1週間? 1週間.
発表1週間、2週間。
Yeah, I can drop it. Here you go. 1 second. There you go. See that big image? Do you see this, the big image? 巨大地震注意とは?
巨大地震注意とは、南海トラフ地震の想定震源域で新たな大規模地震の発生可能性が平常時と比べて相対的に高まっていると評価された場合に気象庁から発表される情報です。で、政府や、
So big earthquake coming.
はい。政府や自治体などからの呼びかけなどに応じた防災対応をって書いてあります。で、
and then this is the stuff you should be doing.
で、こうやって、巨大地震の注意が出たから、じゃあ何をすればいいかっていうと、発表されてから、あと1週間の間で、日頃の備えの再確認に加えて、地震発生後すぐ避難するための準備。で、じゃあどういったことをすればいいのかっていうと、家族の所在場所を把握。これはなんだ？家族どこに住んでるかな？
I guess like make sure where your family is and make your homies. In this case for phone, yeah, check out, make sure you know where your homies are.
homies. で、あと、非常用袋やヘルメットを玄関に。で、この
So
多分
bring a helmet. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
非常用
I just want to make
袋
sure the people who need to hear this. And then, you know, so make sure to bring some clothes as well as a bag that you can bring in case of emergency, as well as a helmet and put them on the front what's it called, your front door, or like near your front door.
で、この非常用袋っていうのがただの袋じゃなくて、例えばリュックでもショルダーバッグでも何でもいいんだけど、バッグの中に水とかね、非常食とかそういうものが全部入ったものを非常用袋って言うんだと思う。で、
And then, go ahead.
次が寝るときは枕元に靴を置く。で、これすごいよね。なんかでもさ、
For Japanese people, they're gonna hate doing this.
まあね。なんか面白いのがさ。
Let me explain. Sorry, this is putting your shoes beside your pillow.
うん。 まあ、なんて言うんだろうね。万が一こういうさ、大きい地震が急に起きた時ってさ、靴履いて逃げるかと思ったけど、まあでもそうだよね。裸足で逃げちゃうとさ、まあ足の裏怪我しちゃうとかさ、早く走れないとかいろいろあるから、まあ靴は必要だと思うけど、ねえ。まあ。
I mean, with concrete, definitely.
いや、さ、すごいパニックで焦ってる時にさ、じゃあ靴履いて外逃げようとか思う
I mean, so have you ever been in an area like where you could actually see the effects of the earthquake? In my head, obviously I've felt earthquakes in Japan. You feel them all the time, slightly. I sleep through them, which is kind of scary. But like in my head, I imagine a giant fissure coming through the earth, and almost like you can see hell and lava. And then in my head, I'm like running around and jumping over these crevices and earthquakes happening. I'm assuming that's not how it happens.
Yeah.
Like, are there ever giant gaps in the earth when you see it?
でも違う、なんかそういう、まあ、ギャップっていうのは、もう海底、海の底であって、なんか、さっきも、なんか南海トラフなんとかって言ってたけど、南海トラフっていうのはなんかプレートのなんかそういう、があるなんか地域のなんか名前なんだけど、その海のプレートと、陸のプレートがなんかこうやって重なり合ってて、で、それでなんか、なんか落ち込んだり、一方がなんか、もう一つをなんか圧迫したりして、で、それでなんか、地震が起こるらしいんよね。で、
Yeah. Well, in my head, like, I just imagine that one of the plates and like some of the plates mess up the other earth on top and it leads to isn't it possible you can have these giant, am I crazy? I feel like some earthquakes lead to these massive fissures in the earth that you can see. Or is it all like it's all in the rumbling?
何が？rumbling.
I'm saying is the main reason an earthquake is dangerous just because you have all the other like buildings and stuff around you? If that makes any sense?
まあそれも。
So imagine like there's nothing around you, but like and like a massive earthquake hits. You'd be totally fine, assuming there's no buildings or anything around you.
でもあれだね。例えばさ、まあ道路でもあってもさ、その道路に亀裂が入って、なんか大きなくぼみ、それこそよく、まあ、映画とかで、ドラマティックに描かれるとこなんだけど、亀裂が入って、その下に落ちるとかは、まあ、あると思うけど、建物が。
Okay, so that's what I was talking about.
そうそう。
Yeah,
建物がもしなかったら、まあ、大丈夫なんじゃないのかな。でもね、結構それの、なんか、地震が起きて、何すれば助かるかみたいなのを、なんかまあ後でやるかもしれないけど、なんかいろいろね、まあキーワードがあって、なんか火災が起きたりとか、あと、まあ人みんなさ逃げるから、それになんかもう、巻き込まれて、この間韓国のさ、ハロウィーンでさ、人がなんかすごい窒息死したみたいなのあったじゃん。そういうのとか起きたりとか、まあ洪水、フラッドが起きたりとか、だから、まあ地震そのものによって人が亡くなるっていうわけではないんだよね。
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. It basically has to mess. So even if you had a mother craters, it wouldn't necessarily be because of the like. It's not the earthquake directly that you're getting hit by. So although we talked about it before, I think it probably bears repeating. Maybe not in maximum like super depth, but the Japanese version of the Richter scale, I can't remember if the American version went to 9. I think it goes to 9. The Japanese goes to 7. And if you it's the Daiken link, if you want to check that out, you can like control find for Yude no Jokyo if you want. Daiken. But that has the Daiken link. It's right. Where is it? I mean, I'll just read it. It's fine. Where are we? Here we are. So this is the earthquake scale in Japan. There are 7 levels. It goes from 0 to 7, although 7 is split up into multiple parts. And there's also something called, there's basically magnitude in Japanese, and then shindo. Shindo is talking about like how an earthquake affects your reality, and then magnitude, which is magnitudo, is talking about the actual intensity of the earthquake. In English, I don't know if we have an equivalent to this, but in Japanese, that is what it is. Were you able to find the document? I'm down to hit it up as well. There's a Jishin Shindo Kaikyu to wa.
どこにあるのかわかんないな。
Don't worry about it. So at 0, you basically won't feel any shaking. At 1, you'll be able to feel a small amount of shaking. At 2, you'll be able to feel, the majority of people will be able to feel shaking. At 3, where is this? Oh, even if it's like, I guess everybody will be able to just, okay, the majority, and then this is like everybody. At 4, people will start getting panicked when they feel the shaking, as well as you'll start to see big things move. At 5, everybody will be panicking. It's written here. And then things on shelves will start to fall, and things that are not like attached anywhere will start to fall as well. At 5 strong, so you have 5 weak, 5 strong, it's 5 strong. If you're not holding on to something, it'd be dangerous. More things will be falling over. Things will be completely falling over if they're not established. So like even stuff that's like anything that's not like concretely fixed anywhere. And if you have, I guess, fences made out of blocks, those will start to crumble at this point. You have a week 6. It's hard to to stand up at this point, which was kind of said a second ago. Now, the majority of your stuff will be knocked over, as opposed to some of it. Windows will start to break, and weakly constructed buildings will start to fall down. Then you have strong 7. What is this? Basically just an extension. Yeah, just much more stronger version of that. And also not avalanches, but what are they called? Landslides. Landslides will all start to occur. And then finally you have 7, which is low buildings. Most low buildings will start to get destroyed.
違う。
Also some
ロ
tall
ーじゃなく
buildings.
て、耐震性が
No. Literally. Oh, 低い木造建築?
耐震性が
Sorry, I didn't read the
低い
beginning.
木造
Yeah,
建
sorry,
築
earthquake. Yeah, sorry. I literally misread the first part. Yeah, I just read the 低い. Yeah, the low resistant buildings will just like get knocked down. And even, yeah, just well, I read the other ones fine. And then even ones which have high resistance will start to tip over. So those are the 7 on the Richter scale. And I think I want to give, just because I've heard it so many times, this same article has predictions as to what will actually happen or what is expected to happen if something. So you found the document of assuming then, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to scroll down, there's something called ライフラインに影響する人口, and this will give an idea of what will happen if this giant earthquake ends up hitting Tokyo like it's predicted to. If you want to read some
一
of
番、
the
どこだ
estimates.
一番下
No, you go down. ライフラインに影響する人口.
ライフラインに影響する人口。わかった、はい。で、ライフラインっていうのは、そうか、英語でもライフラインか。水とかね、電気とか、日常で使うものに対して、じゃあどういった、影響が出るかっていうので、じゃあ水道が切れるとどうなるかっていうと、550万人、5 million, 5.5 million.
The one you're reading right now is actually from the 1946 earthquake. The one right after this is the predicted one. So this is the before. So you can read this one too. This is interesting as well. So this is how much an impact the 1946 mega earthquake actually had.
備えだよ。備えって書いてあるから多分。
If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the prediction for the what's it called? That's right below. The 事前の備えとして以下の this the 首都直下地震における。
首都直下地震か。ごめん。首都直下地震に対しては、1100万人だから、11 million people?
Oh, this is the 水道。As in, yeah. The like water
水
lines
道
for people.
で、電気、停電しちゃうということね。だと、もう160万件。160万。
So
1.6 million.
1.6 million houses will lose their electricity.
がダメで、で、ガスも大体同じだね。電気とガス。で、避難は、避難者もう家に帰れないとかね。自分の家じゃないとこに、エバキュエートしないといけない人たちは、地震の発生の1日後に300万人になるっていうんで、3 million people が、避難しないといけないと。で、推定の死者、casualties は、1、10、100、1000万。3万 ?1、10、100、1000万。
Yeah.
3万7600人。 意外と少なくない？
Yeah, I mean, well, if sort of, but if you consider, yeah, like when so just before that, so the amount of people who have to activate, this is like, according to the earthquakes, about 3 million people, which is like the amount of people who use the, like, what's it, the Shinjuku, like, station in a day period. And obviously, like, 37,000 people is like less people than like we're dying from like COVID. But I feel like when it happens from, I feel like if it's like a big traumatic event, it's like school shootings. Like, imagine how I see it is, imagine if a school shooting killed 37,000 people. I feel like maybe, in terms of accidents, like you were plane crash and it's like 60 people. So if you hear like a situation like that, and then maybe you should read, if people don't care about 37,000 people, then you might care about the financial damages. What are the predicted financial damages?
Financial damage は90兆円から95兆円で、多分、兆円って、億の。
I think this is 900 billion.
そう。でさ、
900 billion dollars.
すごく国家予算より多分ね、全然多いよね。どっかの国の。日本の国家予算どれぐらいか知らんけどさ。日本の国家予算。
4 trillion around. So that'd be almost a fourth of Japan's GDP.
日本の国家予算は112兆円か。112兆円らしくて。
112?
112兆円だから。やばいじゃん。経済被害がさ、95兆だから。
Is that not 4 billion? That seems low. Hold up. Japan's GDP?GDP
じゃなくて国家予算？
予算。Okay, never mind.
Yeah. でもさ、その予算がさ、112でしょ？ 122 兆で、今回の、想定する被害額がさ、90兆円だからさ、普通にやばいよねっていう。
That's obviously 37,000 people dying is bad. We're not, that's not bad, but yeah, that's crazy. That's like losing, like, so you're losing like 75%.
でもさ、計算上は合わないよね。多分さ、あれだよね。その首都直下型地震が来ちゃうとさ、もう日本の、経済、人口の、集中してるところに、なんていうの、ピンポイントで来ちゃうからさ、多分ね、その経済の中心が止まっちゃうと、それだけね、財政とかもね、厳しくなってくるから、単純計算のね、被害者の人数だけじゃ、計算できない感じだね。
Well, I don't know. It makes sense though. Like, think of in rural Japan, right? You have a lot of farming and you have a lot, just basically just a lot of farming. And I feel like a lot of that food is going to a big city. But if Tokyo gets hit out and like it's impossible to use any of the roads, well, then you've suddenly disabled every Inaka place in Japan. And then you still have Osaka, I guess, and maybe that's the remaining 25%. But like in my head, everything's in Tokyo. Like all the businesses are in Tokyo, so that kind of makes sense. It'd be in the U.S. It'd be like if California, Chicago, like New York. It'd be like if California and New York got completely disabled, and we're just left with Texas or something. But it maybe even, like Osaka is not really equivalent to just Texas. But yeah. That's pretty insane. So if you hear on the news about this upcoming earthquake, and like I said, this isn't the one that's being predicted necessarily, but in terms of, I think there were some magnitudes that were listed in terms of like what it means for like an earthquake of this scale. I think one of them was like a 7.8 historically. And to be clear, you said, Joey, isn't there a 7-point scale? Yeah, there is. I don't know why it was like when I was looking on even on the Japanese site, it said 7.8. So I'm not sure if it broke their scale, if they were adopting the US scale in terms of that. But like, very, 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 very bad news. Oh, here we have some. Yeah. Just say 1854 was predicted to be an M on the M. I'm not sure if that's still Japan's 8.7 and the magnitude. Yeah, 8.7 magnitude. So it's kind of confusing. So it's literally off the graph. So maybe we need a better graph. And then the one from 1940 and 1946 was 8.4, 8.2. So if 7's already at the point where basically high resistant buildings are getting destroyed, I'm assuming 8.2, just everything just gets completely destroyed. Wait, and this is after 2 years? Oh, what? I'm looking at, So it wasn't just the earthquake wasn't just an effect at one point in time, because there was constant shifting from 1944 all the way to 1946. There was consistent seismic activity. So that's actually kind of terrifying with something like that. I wanted to ask you a little bit about hiding, because there was I think we had a discussion earlier about like what kind of places that can actually, obviously if you're there are a lot of Japanese architectures built around being earthquake resistant. But we actually had a discussion, this was 2 weeks ago, about earthquakes and using cars as protection or other general facilities. I noticed it was something like when have you had any sort of education talking about using your car or other facilities in the event of an earthquake, or maybe you were too young to remember?
Yeah.
Does this line up with the kind of information you were told?
車を使えとは言われたことはないけど、でも、使えるんなら使うよね。なんていうのプロテクションがない状態で、空から降ってくるブロック塀を迎えるよりかは、何かさ、自分の頭の上を塞ぐものがあれば使いたいからね。車は、まあでも軽自動車はちょっとダメだと思うけど、それこそ、なんていうの外車は強いとか言うよね。外車っていうの、日本の車じゃないやつね。結構強いって言うし、
そうね。Oh no, that'd be the worst result of this possible. Because of upcoming earthquakes, people start buying American Ford F-150s.
American じゃなくて、I mean, なんていうのVolkswagen とかさ、Mercedes とかさ、そっち系。
Or who's the money to buy Mercedes in case of an earthquake? Everybody quickly buy yourself a Mercedes.
買ってクソ高いのに、なんていうの地震でね。
You lose all your money, invest in your car.
そしたら地下シェルター作った方がいいよ。まあいいや。で、もうよく、小学校で言われたのが、まあ、中学校とかもなんだけど、何かあったら机の下に隠れろっていう。でもさ、学校に置いてある机さ、そんな頑丈なのかって言われるとさ、別にいいじゃん。とりあえず机の下に隠れろっていうのがね、鉄則で、なんでかっていうと、まあ、蛍光灯上にあるライトとかが、まあ、地震で落ちた時に、頭でね、傷つかないように、机の下に隠れるっていうのが、まあ、to go みたいな感じ。
And whoops, my throat is completely clogged. We'll talk about it next section, but I got COVID again. Anyways, I have an experience that I think I've talked about on this podcast before, which is regarding my experience, because your experience learning about what you're supposed to do in an earthquake. I think I talked about this. I went to what was the name of it? It was an earthquake prevention center. I had to do part of this when I was studying abroad. It was one of the first things we had to do, and I think this is very common if you ever do a study abroad program in Japan, where they have an informational session about how you're supposed to respond to natural disasters. And they got this car, they drove this car out that could simulate an earthquake and at the different levels. But it had different things on the inside. Obviously they wouldn't actually fall down. Nothing would fall down, but it would kind of pretend it's falling down and shake a bunch. You're supposed to get in the inside and sit down on this chair and experience what it would be like to be in an earthquake. And I don't know if the drill is effective. We were supposed to get under the table, like you said. That was part of our drill as well. But it was just kind of being on not a roller coaster, because I don't know what thing makes you just shake. But when you get a bunch of college students and you put, it's it basically felt like a carnival ride. And I just remember I had that everybody was having a good time except for the guy running the earthquake machine, the earthquake machine, because nobody was kind of taking it seriously. And I included myself. It was just so much fun. I was he started at 1. He's like, "Oh, does that feel fine?" "Daijoubu, daijoubu."
あれか、シミュレーターだからでってことだよね。
Yeah. But then he was kind of being like, "Are you guys sure you want to go higher?" And we're like, "We want to go higher. We want to go 9." And then we were all just laughing as we were getting hit with the 9. Which I'm pretty clear. I know earthquakes are serious business, but convincing college students when you basically put them on a amusement ride that earthquakes are serious business is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I find it funny that this trough, the Nankai trough, is extends basically across like 70% of Japan. So if there were to be an earthquake,
70じゃないよ。ちょっと
60, what do you think? 60% of Japan? Excluding the islands. I'm talking about mainland. Because it goes all through Shikoku and goes all the way up.
まああれね、長さね。長さ的にはそうかもしれない。その、
So,
まあそうね。日本の地図あんまわかんない人が、まあほとんどだと思うけど、まあちょっと検索してもらえれば、静岡あたりから、まあ中部地方ね、あたりから、まあ四国と、まあちょっと九州にかかるぐらいだから、関東にかかってないっちゃかかってないけど、まあ津波とかは来るよねっていう。
I think that's just where the direct earthquake is though, right? When they're probably still going to be effects outside the general region, right? And then what I was thinking when I saw this, and I've been hearing all the earthquakes, is so Aimi went to Okinawa recently. You know, it's a potential place that she wants to do medical residency in, and it's like, something her father said was about Okinawa. It's like, hey, if you go to Okinawa, like, you have to be careful because they might get bombed. You know, if some upcoming war happens between, you know, China and Okinawa. And in my head, it's like, okay, so for one, who knows? But for me, it's like, okay, you stay in mainland Japan and get hit by the earthquake, or you go to Okinawa and you get bombed. So it seems the only place that's safe is Hokkaido.
確率高いかって言われてさ、なんかさ、今の状況だったら絶対地震の方が確率高いよねっていう。
Well, I don't know. I don't know about which one would be more likely. Obviously, I don't know if Okinawa would get bombed necessarily, but I do think like they're like so we know an earthquake's probably going to happen, right? But we don't necessarily know a war is going to happen, even though it feels likely at some point. You know, at some point, it looks like China's going to do something. And then Hokkaido, you'd be thinking is the safe spot. But Hokkaido, I remember when I studied abroad, got hit with a pretty severe earthquake. I don't know.
そうだ、北海道もあれ、地震あるんだ。
Yeah, no, I remember I couldn't go on any of the major hikes. The only thing that was available was a graveyard, which was probably, now that I think about it, not a very tasteful place to visit after a large earthquake. But it was the only thing open, and it was very pretty. And you can see over all of Hokkaido. But yeah, hopefully this helps you. If you're currently in Japan listening to this podcast, I would definitely. They have if you don't have a phone, I guess if you don't have a Japanese, are you going to get an alert? I don't think I ever got an earthquake alert. No, you would. I don't think I would. Unless you have.
確かに。
And you probably wouldn't understand Japanese. So, I guess.
My phone is set to English, and I got English alert, alert みたいな。
I'm assuming if you're listening to this podcast, you probably understand decent amount of Japanese, but if you just to make sure, jishin is earthquake. So if you have a TV or something and you're hearing jishin soko, like anything like that, like urgent earthquake report, that is your notification to get under something, get your helmet and your what else did we need? Your shoes near the door with your packed bag. And so that'll be for like the next 5 days. I don't actually know what you're supposed to pack in your bag. Your emergency bag.
Yeah,
they told you to get a bag. What if you don't like drinking water?
いいよ、ティーでも何でもいいけどさ、ベブル何でもいいよ。
Yeah. So yeah, let us know if you have any further questions about earthquake prevention. I guess there's no way we're going to catch you in 5 days, but yeah, we'd be interested to know if you've experienced any natural disasters. Give us your natural disaster stories. 戻りました。
We are back.
最初のセクションに言った通り、私、コロナにかかっちゃった。あいみもコロナにかかっちゃったのかな。
Yeah, before you got COVID, I got COVID. I was first.
で、もちろん、ポッドキャスト今 YouTube で見てるならわかると思うんだけど、私、アメリカにいます。ついにというか、残念ながらアメリカにいるって感じだけど。で、戻ってからすぐコロナにかかっちゃって、この2日間はちょっとやばかった。なんか私の好きな日本から戻って、で、アメリカに来て、アメリカの残念なところになんか結構あった上にコロナにかかっちゃったから最悪だったね。この2日間。で、私にとってなんかあんまり咳がないからそんなにやばくないけど、あいみにとって症状はどうかな？
The first day was kind of yeah, that was, yeah, the first day was the toughest because like I was having this, like, how do you say, like, I felt feverish and, I had a runny nose and coughs and, like I could feel the heat back in my eyes. So I was like, but like the day before, I felt bad. I was having like a runny nose and also I didn't sleep that much because Joy was packing like too late. So yeah, I thought that was just because of no, how do you say it? Like lack of sleep. But yeah, it
ちなみ
turned
に
out
初めてなの今。初めてなの
I guess,
コロ
yeah, I
ナ
guess I got COVID for the first time. And the funny thing is, I got 5 shots of COVID. Yeah.
私もなんか4回ぐらいかな。
Yeah, because like medical students are kind of like forced to get vaccinated because we do clinical rotation. So I was kind of like, yeah, I didn't think I would get that after having like 5 shots, but it turned out that was not the case.
逆になんか日本にかかるなんて私も思わなかった。なんかアメリカだとそのマスクもちろんつけたくない人がたくさんいるんだけど、日本だと今でもマスクつけてる人は毎日見るから逆になんか日本だったから。でもまたなぜかというと多分どうぞ。
I mean, like, I think I got COVID when I went to Okinawa because, like,
沖縄の人か。アメリカの人だったかなその軍人の人
I mean,
米軍の人
I mean, no one was really wearing a mask. And I remember, like, my friends said that, like, they got kind of sick from, like, after they were on the plane. So maybe plane because yeah, like it's like a enclosed environment, and if someone coughs, then the air will like go through one space. So yeah, I think that was the reason maybe.
いや、100% 米軍の人。100%。だからずっと、その、本州と沖縄の大きな違いは、もちろん、その本州だと米軍がいるんだけど、でも、沖縄だと、そのほとんどの場所は、なんか、どこに見ても米軍の人がいるから、100% アメリカ人のせいだった。で、ワクチン、したくない人もたくさんいるから。まあ、まあ、とりあえずそんなに病気じゃなくてよかった。私も、まあ今、ポッドキャストできてるので、そんなに悪くないけど、それよりも最初になんかアメリカに来て最初思ったことは、お腹ついた。で、お腹ついた時に、やば、チップが戻ったという不安が。で、なんか店に行ったら、まあ本当はチップについて完全に忘れてしまって、で、もちろんなんか日本に3ヶ月間ぐらいいたから、でも、なんかオムレットがあって、で、$18だった。で、それはなんか意外と高かったと思ったんだけど、まあとりあえず空港だからそんなに悪くないと思った。で、その看板に書いてあるのはその 20% の何でしたっけ service fee がある。で、まあ私にとって、チップしなくていいんだと思った。service fee があるから、なんか 20%、その 20% あるから、そのまあ$18は確かに高い。日本の料理と比べると。でも、そんなに悪くないと思った。で、その、ウェイターさん、ウェイターさん女性のバージョンはなんていう日本語だと。ウェイトレスいいの。すいません。そうだね。ウェイトレスが来て、その機械いつも持つんだよね。その、なんかアメリカと、その、なんか、支払えるとこ、その、なんていう、カードを刺すみたいな機械があるんだけど、それ刺したときに、まあ、サービスフィーがあったから、私チップしないよね。と思ったんだけど、 そのすぐに出したら、そのチップのガムもあったから、そのサービスフィーとチップ、どっちもやらなくちゃいけなかった。で、結局、その18ドルのオムレツが31ドルになっちゃった。
What? That's
その
more than
2倍
double,
ぐらいになっ
right?
て。
Not more than, but
でも近い。
yeah, close to double. Wow.
で、
So what's
そう、英語で、God fucking damn it, I hate this country と言っちゃった。ここで、なんかついに言っちゃって、もうなんかアメリカに戻ったなと思った。どうせ私の最初の経験、本当に。ついてから。
Waitress heard you saying that.
まあ、いや、その、払ってから、私なんか我慢して、で、払ってから、なんかその店を出て、で、God fucking damn it, I hate this country と言っちゃった。
I mean, like, what was the service fee part then?
わかんない。なんか、わかんない。ただ20%ぐらいそのお通しみたいなことだっただけ。日本だとそのお通しの話したことあるんだけど。
You said, izakaya was the worst place, right? No, you proved that
そうそう、
izakaya
日
was
本の
not
話。
the worst place.
日本の話。アメリカだとどこに行っても居酒屋と同じぐらい最低。でも同時に笑った。なんか、なんか前の話に戻ると、そのなぜ日本でコロナにかかっちゃったかというと、日本だと、なんかいろんな場所に行ける。なんか店に行ける。払えるから。なんか安いし、近いし、いろんなことできるし。でもアメリカに戻ると、逆にどこにも行きたくないから。なんか家に引きこもればいいって感じ。まあ、ということで、みんなはマスクつけなくても私外出たくないから、かからないよね。で、もちろんその、アメリカのいろんな大きい、なんか全部は大きすぎるということにもう一度自覚して、なんか慣れてきたかなわかんないんだけど。でも、そういうところはいいね、と思った。なんか私の部屋に入ってると、最高、スペースあるわと思っちゃった。
Well, it's just my apartment is tiny. There are plenty of large houses in Japan. It's just...
いや、でも沖縄のなんかホテルだったね。その変ななんか廊下みたいな形でできてて。
Well, like, if you pay more, you can definitely have like a suite room.
でもちろんなんか日本にいるときにそんなに気にしないんだけど、アメリカに戻ると逆に、なんかスペースがあっていいねと思う。でもそれ以外のところに関しては嫌だけど、その車社会とか、まあ沖縄もそんな感じだったけど、まあとりあえずアメリカに戻って良くなかったんです。戻って良かったじゃなくて戻って最悪だった。はい。And we're back with the final section. And if you made it to the final section, let me just send an email to lazyfluency@email.com with a comment, question, language related, and or otherwise. And this week we have a comment from Oddity. Feels like it's been a while, I'm not sure. And here it goes. So I was prepared to yap about how Israel is hotter than Japan and why are Japanese people complaining so much, but it turns out it isn't. Tel Aviv and Tokyo peak at the same temperatures and humidity during the hottest month, though Tel Aviv is hotter overall and for much longer. My take on the handy fan is that it's like this small shoulder case. I forgot what that even was like. But yeah, we talked about the small shoulder. Yeah, it's totally a boomery old people's device thing that for some reason people have adopted as a trendy fashion accessory in Japan specifically. Since you mentioned clothing, I've attached some shots I took of random people on the street while I was listening to this episode to showcase how your average Israeli beats the heat. They just wear next to nothing. Feel free to post them. I don't want to dox anybody. I mean, I don't know. I mean, not doxing, but yeah. High heat with high humidity is insufferable, and none of the mentioned methods helped much. The only thing to beat the heat is just stay in while the sun is high, not move much, and eat cold watermelon. Unfortunately, sometimes you just have to be out during these hours. And then what I often think about is, how much do all the ACs in the city, working nonstop during the summer, contribute to the rise in temperature inside the city? Also, why are there no trees and public benches in Japanese cities? Will people look at you funny if you walk around in a tank top, shorts, and flip-flops? Laters. Oddity. Thank you for the comment. This isn't a correction, but it's some context as to, it's not an apology either. I don't know what it is, but here's what I'll say. Japan's peak temperatures are similar to the peak temperatures in Panama. Now, this might surprise people because I was saying Japan's summers aren't that bad. And I keep talking about how hot Panama is. There's some additional context here, which is important. And I think as to why it felt so, and the humidity is also pretty high in Japan as well. But I think the thing is as to why Panama feels so much hotter, and I feel Japan heat isn't that bad, is twofold. One, when I normally travel to Panama, it's during the summer after I return from being really cold in the US. So when I enter Panama, there is like a big heat difference and a big humidity difference. And so it's very shocking. Two, Panama is always like the cold season in Panama has a 1 degree difference from there's not really a cold season, but like the in the dry season and there's the wet season, basically every season, the lows are like 78 or something like that. Like the lows, and I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it never, ever, even at night, gets cool. It's always extremely like hot. It's always in the 80, like basically mid high 80s. That's it, like always. And then it's around when it gets hot, it's around 90s to 90s plus, a little bit below 100 as well. So it's always like that. There's no escape. And with Japan, the reason it doesn't feel that bad is you have like 2 hours in the day where it kind of, one might get a little hotter than that, but that's kind of it. And in the morning, even on really hot days, it's chill. So I feel like I need to clarify that because I've been talking about Japanese. Oh, and the other thing is, in the other heats I've experienced in the US, outside of going to, Panama and coming back to the US, are some of the hottest places, not only in, the US, but actually in the world straight up. So my experiences, Texas, Nevada, California, like they have peak temperatures of like 126, 130. I think one of the places is even like 140 in terms of like the deserts I've been to. So my experience has been being in some of the hottest places in the world and then following really cold weather and then going to Panama. So I still think the Japanese summers aren't like crazy hot because of what I said earlier. But for those who are looking in the data, I felt like I need to make a correction. Amy, do you have any thoughts about any of this?
日本の夏さ、暑くないとか言ってバカにしたくせにさ。今
Well, I still stand beside that. I still stand beside it. No, I still stand beside that. I just need to contextualize that it's not just a conversation about peak temperature. It's not just, and like I said, the peak temperature in Japan isn't that crazy when you compare it to the US temperatures, which I've experienced. Like, so I've been 8 hours out walking around in Las Vegas at 114 degrees. So, that was a whole different thing.
あとさ、日本ってさ、
Sorry, go ahead.
日本ってところどころさ、なんかコンビニとか何でもさ、お店に入れば、涼む場所があるからさ、それによっても、なんていうの、暑さが軽減するじゃん。実際の気温の暑さが、例えば40度近かったとしても、40度って確かあれだよね、100ぐらいだよね。in Fahrenheit。だけど、お店とか入っちゃえばもう、体がクールダウンするからさ、なんか本当の暑さを感じないと思うんだよ。
Well, I remember that was one of the things that when I was I've been in like Las Vegas or other places. It's like you can't. It does not feel inviting just walk into somewhere randomly for the most part, and you're not really guaranteeing it's gonna be cool and nice. But konbinis, you always can walk in. They always have a bathroom. The bathroom thing is clutch. Always having a bathroom that's available to you is awesome. But do you want to respond to Ayami's question? Why are there no trees and public benches in Japanese cities?
And why って言われてもね。東京とかの、場所によっては、ちゃんと、なんて言うんだろうね、景観、シーナリーを考えて、人工的に木を植えてるところもある。けど、大体のなんか住宅街とかは、木はないね。で、ベンチがないのは私も本当にわからない。で、このベンチがない事件に対して結構ね、いろんなね、外国人の友達とかがメンションするんだよね。なんで日本ってベンチないのとか、マジで毎回言われる。ね、それは本当に気になる。あれじゃない？わかった。わかっちゃった。ホームレスの人が多分寝泊まりできないようにするんじゃない？
I actually don't think that is it. This is not 100% the reason, but and actually, I'm debating if we're going to talk about this because it's part of something I might want to do a larger video on potentially, but yeah, okay, I'll talk about this small thing. From what I understand, the reason for this is as a public, as a people, as in the government, they don't view public facilities as lounging spaces. This includes sidewalks. This includes parks. This includes, train stations, even those are privatized. None of those things are viewed as things that the public is supposed to lounge in. They're viewed as places that people travel through. And there is a whole, this would be a whole other deep dive, but to use public parks in Japan actually as a way you can actually picnic on them was a whole thing that Japanese people need to fight for in Tokyo. And sidewalks and, streets and all that are simply seen as places that you're supposed to be moving and not chilling, hanging out. If you think about it, there aren't that many places in Japan where there are tables. You see people imagine New York where you people playing chess with people, maybe in a park or some other stuff. You don't see that. And so that whole mindset, and as to why Japanese people have that mindset, or why that's the case, I'm not entirely sure why. It might have to do with an efficiency of just keeping people moving. But yeah, Aimi has had the experience of, literally bringing a small pop-up chair and sitting in the corner of an empty subway, train station, and having the Ekin-san, the dreaded Ekin-san, just come up to her, be like, oh no, you have to stand, even though that takes up the same amount of space as you sitting. You just have to stand because.
そうそうそう。マジで、あれだよね。何も考えない人って私すごく嫌いなんだよね。なんかさ。
Do you think, sorry, go ahead.
何
I'm saying, do you think people will look fun at you if you walk around in a tank top, shorts, and flip-flops?
今、なんかね、今の時代と、今の季節考えてたら、まあ大丈夫なんじゃないかな。なんか今ってさ、結構、アメリカだったりさ、アメリカって結構さ、なんか、なんて言うんだろうね。ほぼほぼ何も着てないようなファッションしててもなんか別に何も言われないじゃん。なんかそういったファッションが今、若い女の子とかも結構なんか、流行ってて、そういうの着てるから、なんか、東京とかに行けばあんまりなんか変な目では見られないけど、少なくともなんか田舎とかでなんかタンクトップに very very short のなんかパンツとか履いてたらちょっと見られるけど通報はされないんじゃない？逆に
It's funny that I'm thinking about it that for women I think this is totally normal. Obviously covering your shoulders is something you need to do, but aside from that, women wear the shortest shorts of all time. Japanese shorts don't even exist. A lot of times, even in more rural places, I will straight up for a second think that I'm looking at a woman who's naked from the waist down, and then I realize their shirt is just longer than their shorts. And that happens very frequently. That's a style. Yeah, it's a naked pants style.
日本人ってよくね、足を見せたがんだよね。あれじゃん。ウェスタンだとさ、結構ブーブスとかじゃん。
It's guys don't show off their legs, right? Japanese. So that's I'm being clear. So I think, do you think that this would change if it was a man wearing the tank top, shorts, and flip-flops? Because in my head, the tank top seems weird. I don't know if I've seen Japanese dudes in a tank top.
結構東京、それこそ東京とかだったら別に、いるんじゃん。なんか今そういうのファッションじゃん。なんか俺ジム行ってますぜ、みたいなさ。じゃあフリップフロップはわかんないけど、なんかタンクトップでさ、ここがめっちゃさ、ガーッて上げたやつでさ、俺ワークアウトしてますぜ、みたいなさ、なんか格好の人いるじゃん。で、田舎になるとタンクトップになんかフリップフロップ履いてるのは、おじさんなんか、一週間ぐらいお風呂入ってなさそうなおじさんがよくそういう格好してるよね。で、ちょっとさ、タンクトップにさ、なんかちょっとステインがちょっとついてんの。if you trade the tank top for an Okinawan tee, and yes, I mean an Okinawan tee, not a Hawaiian tee as we've established, then I think you'll just look like, obviously if you're foreign, but then I think you can at least go with the I love the ocean vibe, and that'll be fine. But if you go with the tank top, then yeah, I think it's going to be really weird. けど、そんなね、今、本当にマジで、なんて言うんだろうね、女子たちは、なんか、ほぼほぼ着てないようななんか格好してるから、オリリーがメールで送ってくれた写真の、 なんか感じも、普通にそういう人はいるね。で、男の人でそういう格好するのあんまいないかな。で、男の人で上半身裸で歩いてると多分、職務質問されるから、それはまだ解禁されてないかな。
Yeah. And I do want to answer one question that was asked from Shockox, and it was, how do you guys handle the phone thing when you're going from country to country? Do you get a new SIM card every time you're in Japan? Do you have one specifically for being in Japan? Do you use eSIM, which I've heard about and sounds great for relatively short trips? I feel like I wanted, to answer this because this could be helpful to many people. Or are you not saying it till the next? I have thoughts. This is a question of traveling. I mean, probably probably me. I do not get a SIM card, although I recommend people use an eSIM. You don't have to use it physically. You just, I can't remember what the most popular one is, but you can, if you search in popular Japanese, eSIM, it's pretty straightforward. You literally just hook up your credit card, choose a plan, and then if you have a modern phone, it'll have a way to allow you, like, basically just immediately access internet. That's pretty straightforward. Now, the reason I don't have an eSIM is when I'm in Japan for longer periods of time, and I consume way too much media. And I'm not going to say part of that is legally downloading anime because I would never do that. But hypothetically, if I were to do that, like the plans I would need would be ridiculous. They'd just be insane. Like I'm talking like 200 gigabytes plus a month. And if you're trying to get like a SIM card plan, then that ends up being, I think, like, you only get like 3 gigs. Oh no, the eSIMs, no, that'd be really expensive. There's from the ones I've seen, the most popular one's like 3 gigabyte plan. There's like a 10 gigabyte plan, and yeah, if you wanted, depending on how short your stay is, that's probably totally fine. But if you're doing like so what did I get? I got there are these Wi-Fi passports. I can't remember if I don't think there's an English term. I'm not sure. In Japanese, pocket Wi-Fi is what's called in Japan. And if you are looking for the correct one and you're like me, and you think you totally wouldn't, but you may or may not want to be using, getting high amounts of data from, just use it for whatever reasons, including not doing downloading illegal anime, then you can find some unlimited ones. It's hard though. You have to look specifically for them. And it might be hard, especially if you're not very comfortable with Japanese. I had to search quite a lot. A lot of them have a throttle limit on it. And so I had to find one that wasn't. And for the one I paid for, it was like 7,000 yen a month for unlimited. It was like 5G, 4G, which would be around the equivalent of like, $40, $50, which is not that bad for an entire month. You can get ones for, if you're just interested in getting like normal unlimited with throttling or whatever, you could probably get it for around 4,500, 5,000 yen. So if you're really consuming a lot of data, or you have multiple people who are coming with you and they all want to be, using the same device as opposed to everybody individually in eSIM, it's probably way more affordable to get a, what's it called? Pocket Wi-Fi. Especially if you want to use it on multiple devices, like your computer as well. So for me, it's like, I'm going to use my computer, I'm going to use my phone. Sometimes I want to share it. And as I mentioned, I do not want to download lots of illegal anime. So yeah, that's why. Do you have any advice? I don't know if you've ever experienced.
でも私もあれだよ。だからアメリカ行った時とかはさ、なんか、まあちょっと私、説明するのが難しいな。私が携帯の契約してるわけじゃなくて、my mom が携帯のなんか契約してんのね。なんか家族で組むとなんか安いとかね。で、なんか my mom が結構、なんて言うんだろうね。スティンジーだから、なんか Wi-Fi 借りるより、なんか、携帯会社で海外でも使えるような、プランでいいんじゃないなんか、いいよとか言い始めて。で、結局私はアメリカ行くためだけに、なんかまた新しいなんかソフトバンクっていう、携帯会社なんだけど、なんか、新規契約して、で、あっちで普通に使ったんだけど、でも普通の人は、ね、今使ってる携帯に、海外でも使えるようなプラン追加したりとか、あと、そうね、SIM 借りるとか、あと、そうね、あっちの、なんていうの？そう、ポータブル Wi-Fi とかも日本から持ってったりとか、かな？
Yeah, and that's our advice. Thank you so much for the comments. That bell means we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks for joining us in another lazy conversation towards fluency. If you have any language-related questions and are just looking for general advice, send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com and maybe I might respond in the next episode. Also, consider supporting us on Ko-Fi to get video updates, Discord access, and or to just lend a hand. And finally, make sure to check out our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. We'd appreciate the support. This has been Joey.
And Ayami.
Signing off. じゃあねー。